knows which lawyer you should choose. Other lawyers know. They've invited Gary C. Johnson to teach his method of judo law in Denver, Atlanta, New Orleans, and across the nation. Gary used judo law to set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the history of Kentucky. Now, which lawyer should you choose? The choice is clear. Gary C. Johnson. This is an advertisement.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson tries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt. Say hello to my dear friend Gary C. Johnson.
Isn't it wonderful? I said just before we started recording here, my friends, that let's just have some fun. Right? How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're well on the road to happiness. I hope that you're not criticizing, condemning, and complaining. And remember those slights. Let's don't do those anymore. Especially those imaginary ones. And the reason I keep talking about those imaginary slights, I've been a victim of that all my life. And I've just, in the last few years, learned to control those babies. So isn't it wonderful, though, that we can be here learning together? Keith and I were talking before we started that, we hope we get some information out to you folks that's of some benefit to you. But we're really hoping that we get the information to us.
I got to tell you, I am having more fun doing the television program and the radio program with you because it is so fascinating to think about yourself, about your inward workings and what makes you up and who you are.
And so, folks, we're going to do it. The law, we'll get around to it someday because this is far more important what we're talking about, and it's some sense of contentment, well-being, and happiness. The key to making our dash this big, instead of going to the graveyard and have this little old bitty dash, ours is going to be this big because we used every second of it.
Now, that's the truth. Gary and I have made each other a promise that when we do pass this life and our dates are put on the tombstone, that we want the dash to stretch all the way across the tombstone.
All the way across.
So that people will know we got every minute.
Because we squeezed every second out of that dash. And my friends, I want you to too. I really do. And I want to say this, if we are doing anything to help you get through this world, let us know. Gary at GaryCJohnson.com or Keith C. at CaseboltBroadcasting.com. Let us know because we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your stories. I mean, we're all in this big old thing together, right?
You know, Gary, it's so fascinating that whenever you or I were out at the grocery store or whatever, we run into people who tell us stories. Unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to catch people's names or to remember the stories. Mm-hmm. But by logging on to the email or sending us some information, who knows that your story might not be the one that helps somebody find happiness?
Believe it or not, it may help Keith and I.
Absolutely.
I mean, at my age, every day, I look forward to that day because I'm hoping I can learn something more. I'm hoping I can get a little more insight into life and what it's all about and why we're here and all of those things that make us live and be and the reverence for life. You can too. Let's do it together. Let's just have some fun. And let's not worry about all this stuff that's going on in the world. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Let's use our brains and let's go places that you'd never dream of going before. And we're going to have fun doing it.
You know, you said the other day, the more that you read and the more that you learn, the more you think, oh my goodness, we've just barely scraped the surface. And I'm thinking the same thing, because every time you reveal something new to me, I'm sitting over here going, duh. I had no idea.
It's the truth. We're learning. And Keith and I, we're trying our best to learn about this subconscious and some things and how it works. Hopefully we'll learn enough to where at some point we can get it really truly shared with you. Now, some of you, when we read these articles, which I'm going to read some today, will understand it and catch it just like that. The rest of you may be like me and Keith.
Yeah.
You may need some examples. You may need some trial and error. You may need all those other things that comes with time for it to actually sink in so that you can get the benefit of it. I'm convinced it's the key to contentment in our lives. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced that if someone could ever really learn how to teach it or get someone to really understand it, that you could prevent all kinds of mental illness and depression and things of that nature. Because mental illness is in our mind,
Gary,
just like everything else.
you said a key word there when you were talking. You said the benefits. And see, that's what's got me intrigued about it, is the benefits, because you can be happier, you can make more money, you can have more friends, you can have a better family life, you can be healthier. All those things are really linked to what you're talking about, right?
And a lot of people have given it a lot of thought. Some of them have written articles. I'm going to go over at least one of these articles with you tonight about how this person felt like that maybe we could deal with our subconscious and get it to do more for us. So let's go to the computer first. There's our number in case you need to reach us. We're in Lexington. There's our number for the Lexington office. Remember, you can go, there's the webpage, but if you want to email me, it's gary@garycjohnson.com. Love to hear from you folks. In general, please make sure you have underinsurance that protects you and your family. This is one of the articles I want to talk to you about. It's The Subconscious Mind, How to Unlock and Use Its Power by Gil Mayer, and that's the author. And then the other one is How to Make the Power of Your Subconscious Mind Work for You, and that is by a lady named Kate Maria Pennell. So, my friends, let's go to the subconscious, how to make it work for you.
And what I like about when you're talking about the subconscious work for you, let's put this in the same way of a physical. What if there were two physical beings of us, and you could work 8 hours a day, but you could do twice the work because there were two of you physically? I think you're basically telling us if we can tap into the subconscious, we could actually have two people mentally working for us.
We have two intellectual entities working for us, conscious, subconscious. This book was put out years ago, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Bet you that you guys haven't read it, right? He sold over 70 million copies. And throughout the book, he talks about empowering the subconscious and making it work for you so that you can think and be rich. This person here, Gil Mayer, took this book and put what he thought was a lot of the important things about the subconscious in this article, How to Make the Power of Your Subconscious Mind Work for You.
One thing people may want to know about Napoleon Hill, he was born in Southwest Virginia, and very poor, grew up in the mountains, but he had a desire to learn and to think, and he started interviewing very successful people and getting their secrets.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
and learn from it.
A humble beginning.
Well, folks, I want to read you some things from this article. and I've highlighted the things that I think may make some sense. He calls the subconscious the wild monkey. Now, what's he mean by that? The best comparison of the subconscious mind is to a wild monkey. It can run rampage the whole day as it does not tire easily. And it can bring random pieces of information to the main part of the brain. Or it could make itself busy with achieving your goals and bringing you the information that you need to succeed. The only thing you have to do is give this wild monkey a purpose.
Okay, so that's enlightening in the fact that you're basically saying the subconscious is going to work no matter what. If you give it a purpose or if you don't give it a purpose, it's going to go off on its own and it's going to do whatever. But it is going to work 24/7.
Then let's go over to the next section I want to read to you from this article. And we've discussed this endlessly on this program for a long time. It's fear and negative self-talk. Your first step in harnessing the power of the subconscious mind is to eliminate the thoughts loaded with negative emotions. You also need to stop the negative self-talk, or at least make sure that it is not loaded with emotion. They say that if emotion is tagged to what your thought is, that it's going to be far more powerful than otherwise. So your fears often tend to come true, especially when you are very emotional about them. And this is why negative self-talk could produce such harmful effects. Eliminating these negative thoughts or countering them as soon as possible is extremely important and the only way you can be successful. There's a story about the guardian angel, now this is important, that follows you. When you say to yourself, my life is awful, it writes down in your subconscious, awful life. When you say, my job is boring, it writes down, boring job. And when you say, my body is ugly, it writes down, ugly body. And then it goes on and, believe it or not, grants you every one of those wishes.
Isn't that amazing?
Because they are filled with strong emotions of sadness, disappointment, regret, self-loathing. That angel, that guardian angel, is your subconscious mind. Now, the question is, can you afford to let these negative thoughts enter your mind?
So you're self-prophesying what's going to happen. You're sitting there really and truly creating your future by saying, the job is bad, my body, I'm ugly, things are going to be bad, and lo and behold, guess what turns out? Everything.
The subconscious grants the wishes.
Everything you said.
So instead of saying, my life is awful, say, my life is wonderful when I really and truly look at it. When you say my job is boring, say, I really have an interesting job that I'm going to make a lot better in the future. Okay? And when you say my body is ugly, say to yourself, my body is the way the good Lord meant for me to be. He created me the way I am. He's happy with me, and I am tickled to death with me. And guess what? Your subconscious will grant you all of those wishes.
You know, Gary, some of our friends maybe tuning in for the first time are going to say, it cannot be as simple as that. You can't tell me that if I think positive thoughts, positive things will happen, or if I think negative thoughts, negative things will happen.
Well, he gives us some techniques here to deal with this. And it's all in this book, but he put it over here in this article, so it'll make it easy. The countering technique in dealing with that negative thoughts. One of the best practices in reducing negative self-talk is the counter technique. Every time a negative thought comes to your mind, you counter it with the extreme positive counter thought. My body is ugly, say to it, my body's beautiful. Okay?
Yeah.
For example, if you have an important presentation and you think to yourself, I'm going to embarrass myself in front of all those people, immediately counter it with the statement, no, I'm going to be so good that the audience will give me at least a 5-minute standing ovation. Then the truth will be somewhere in between. Okay? The counter technique. Negative comes in, counter it, and it may be you're saying an absurd positive back to it, but counter it with an outrageous positive. A counter technique in dealing with those negative thoughts. The delete button technique, I like this one. Another power tool in countering the negative self-talk is the delete button. When a negative thought enters your mind, press the delete button in your mind and imagine how the thought, written on a piece of paper, is destroyed. Or you can picture in your mind that you're smashing the negative thought with your fist. Or even better, you can write the negative thought on a piece of paper and burn it. In other words, it's deleted. It is gone. Because you have to deal with these negative thoughts in order to go forward with the positive things that's going to make you successful and happy and maybe even rich.
Yeah. Now, I'm thinking we're probably got some people saying it's not going to work, but you're saying try it.
Well, okay, guys, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
If you do the things I'm talking about here in this article, because I'm doing them and Keith's doing them.
Absolutely.
What do you have to lose doing it? But you've got a whole lot to gain if it works. I mean, you talk about having some contentment in your mind, in your life. Then we go on. Your subconscious mind will also act on thoughts that are conveyed with desire. Powered by desire, your subconscious mind will do anything in order to obtain the object of desire, that cake.
Yes.
It would also open all available channels to the conscious mind for information on how to do that, how to get that cake. When your goal becomes the consuming obsession of your life and you have the burning desire to see it come true, then you will be successful. When you have set your subconscious mind on a task backed up by strong emotion, then it would allow you to see the opportunities in life that would lead to your goal. The best athletes become the best only because of their burning desire to be number one. There's nothing else they want from life except this. This is the dominating dream of their life. They're willing to do what it takes to achieve it. Stay late after the training sessions and practice their skills more. Do what it takes to expand their skills and become better than the rest. Set their subconscious mind to look for opportunities to achieve their goals. Now, think about that. And I'm going to read you some more because I think this is critically important, my friends, if you're going to get ahead. How can you cultivate this burning desire? Start with defining your goal. Make it as specific as possible. What your goal is, what you want to achieve. Make it specific. Make it as realistic as possible that it's something that you really could do. Okay?
So you're saying don't talk in generic terms, I just want to be wealthy.
Right.
How do you want to be wealthy? What is it that you want to do to become wealthy?
Right. What your goal is, the goal. Write it down and then fill it. Write that goal down. Make it a simple goal. Then what else does he say? And this is neat. And this is going to be the hard thing to do, my friends. Then he says, burn your bridges. What does he mean by that? You destroy any safe boats that you might use just in case something messes up. Our mind has evolved to help us survive, and it is when it achieves the best results. By burning the bridges, you set your mind in survival mode, and the only way that is left is for you to go forward and reach that goal. In other words, don't have a backup plan, don't have a second plan. Set your goal, tell your subconscious what it is, and go after that goal. Your brain, your subconscious, wants you to survive. It will figure it out for you.
You know, I listened to an interview with the great actor George Clooney, who's from Kentucky. And he said that he wanted to be an actor, but his father and other people told him, you need a backup plan. You need to get a degree so that you can teach or you can get into journalism. And he said, I refused their advice because it was all or nothing. And he did exactly what you said. And obviously we know what kind of career George Clooney has had.
He's had a pretty doggone good career.
He's
right?
had a really good career. But there was no backup plan.
But how many times has Keith said that if we all look like everybody else looked like George Clooney, Keith and I would be mighty handsome.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Be only one Gary and one Keith, and everybody else would be George Clooney.
The next recommendation they have here is the small wins or progress bar technique. Another very powerful tool is to fill your life with small achievements that lead toward the goal. If you want to lose X number of pounds of weight, start each day by looking at the graph of your progress so far. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit gone, right? That's your goal. Your goal is, I want to be 160 pounds, 170 pounds, whatever. That's your goal. That is your burning desire that you have. You've given it to the subconscious to help you achieve it. You've turned it over to them to show you the way to do it. And you never lose sight of it, and you burn your bridges. You don't say, well, if I get to 200, that'll be enough. You say, this is what I'm going to be doing. And it will, that wish, and then you have to see yourself at how you would look at the 170 or whatever you wanted it to be.
You know, Gary, when I listen to you talk, and most everyone has a cell phone or a smartphone, and we just, delight in the technology of that. But I see you telling us, put down that device. It does not compare to the miraculous computer that you have inside your head that the good Lord gave you that you can use to do these things.
And one of the things he says here, if weight sees you, get a picture and put it on your desk of someone who has the perfect weight and look at it every day. Plan it right here that this is the way you're going to look. And I promise you, my friends, I promise you, it will happen. Your guardian angel, which is your subconscious, will grant that wish. You have to do some things. You'll have to, it's not overnight. But over some time, that goal will be achieved. It's because you're using your brain in the positive way it needs to be used.
Yeah, now you started that out with saying with the guardian angel, if you tell it all the bad things. So anyone that's watching the program right now that says, this won't work, they're right. It will not work.
The minute you say it won't work, it won't work.
But for the friends that are saying, you know what, it's worth me trying what you're telling me. If I truly believe it, it will work, then it will work.
And here's the last one he's talking about on the motivational technique. Last but not least, find what energizes you to work on your goal and use it. It could be positive people that encourages you, or a motivational video, or even an energizing song that you can dance to. In any way, make sure that the burning desire to achieve your goal is part of your everyday. Behind the scenes, your subconscious mind will be bombarded with thoughts about your goal, reinforced by the burning desire to achieve it. And my friends, it will happen. Now, I'm just using weight as an example. It could be something in your work. It's something that you're wanting to achieve otherwise. Have that goal, get a burning desire to achieve the goal, and make it every day part of your life.
Okay, now that's an important thing that I'd like for you to stress. This isn't just about losing weight or making money. This is about a better relationship, gaining more friends, being happier inside. I mean, it applies to anything and everything in your life, right?
You got it. And have total faith that it'll happen, not hope. Hope can have an alternative if you just have hope. Faith has already happened, right?
So, I'm sitting here thinking, all of these people that have tapped into this, Gary, we look at them and go, oh, they lucky. Look how lucky they were. Mm-hmm. You're saying they were not lucky. They followed this prescription of success that you're talking about.
Not here. Boy from West Virginia. And what he says, and this is, remember, have faith, because faith is different than hope. Because when we have faith, we are sure in the outcome. And when we hope, we are merely suggesting to ourselves one possible scenario in uncertain circumstances. So don't use the word hope. Have faith that it's going to happen.
So you can't use the word I hope, and you can't use the word I'll try, because that's a bailout.
I want to read this one.
Okay.
The visualization technique. And the next step toward achieving your goal is to visualize it. It is based on having faith in the outcome, not hoping that desired, but faith. One of the most powerful techniques is visualizing your life when your desire is already fulfilled. Set aside several minutes a day to close your eyes and imagine your life after you have achieved your goal. Make it as vivid as possible. What were you wearing? How do you act? How are you feeling? What are you saying? What are you doing? What are other people saying about you? All of those things, you have to visualize them to get to the goal.
So you're seeing it happening.
You're seeing it happen. You have to see it happen.
It's like when we talked off air not long ago, I told you about the lady I interviewed that wrote a movie and played in it with Whoopi Goldberg. And I said, oh, as a child from Virginia, did you ever believe? And she said, oh, I knew it the whole time. She had visualized the success in her life as a small child from Virginia.
And whatever your goal is, start acting like it's already there. Suit up, show up, dress, whatever. Do it. And it will happen, my friends. It will happen.
The main thing is, give it a try. Think about it.
Mm-hmm. Think.
And remember, if you've got a story, Gary at GaryCJohnson.com, Keith C. at CaseboltBroadcasting.com. We'd love to hear from you. My friend, it was a great show.
Yeah, I love this stuff.
And thank you for tuning in. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt, and we can't wait to see you again next week at the same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
Who really knows which lawyer you should choose? Other lawyers know. They've invited Gary C. Johnson to teach his method of judo law in Denver, Atlanta, New Orleans, and across the nation. Gary used judo law to set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the history of Kentucky. Now, which lawyer should you choose? The choice is clear. Gary C. Johnson. This is an advertisement.